friends. Today, I'd like to share with you my new story that I wrote in Russian and in English. I called it Power of Traveling, or in Russian «Путешествуйте, смолоду». Traveling, what a magic word it is. I think every person on earth enjoys traveling, and traveling enriches our lives. It makes our lives more interesting. It brings new emotions, some new impressions into our daily routine. So, my story I started with a quotation of Hans Christian Andersen: "To travel is to live." Curious. Let's begin. What do babies like doing most of all? How do they spend their first days in the wide, wide world? Of course, eating and sleeping are must-haves of their agenda. But as soon as they open their eyes for the first time in their life, they start soaking up information like a sponge. They are true explorers. All their life is about learning the surrounding world. The more they catch, the more they want. It is like an unquenchable thirst to question everything, to look into every tiny aspect of the day and night activities. Children start with very simple things. They learn to move, walk, run, jump, pronounce sounds, words and sentences, hold various objects in their hands, eat and drink themselves. Every day they make progress and go forth, step by step. The reason of exploring the environment is absolutely trivial. If you want to survive and stay in this enormous world, you need to understand how it works, and as with any mechanism, you begin with basics to build up a reliable and solid foundation. After a couple of years after birth, a kindergarten usually starts, followed by school and study groups in consonance with the child's inborn abilities and talents, and finalized by university or college studies, being deemed as the top of the iceberg of official exploring process required for the best adaptation and assimilation of the individual into the society. What role is dedicated to traveling in the overall cognitive process? How is it connected with our personal frame build-up? Nowadays, when the world at large is often named as the global village, traveling becomes more and more important for each of us to find our own place, shelter and harbor, and not to lose ourselves in those enormous flows of information, people, events, goods and services of all stripes and colors. Everything seems available at present. You just enter the internet and you are there in the heart of the live stream. However, net has its own pitfalls and dangers. If you want to become an advanced net surfer, you need to understand the laws of the internet, to play fair and square, and to weed out the things that you don't need, the things that might be harmful or distort you from your way. And of course, first and foremost, you should have a clear idea of vision of your path, where you'd like to go, who to live with, what to do, and finally, what happiness means to you. And here, traveling can become of great support to every person on earth. As a well-known proverb says, a picture is worth 1,000 words. You may read, hear, watch on and on about the taste of the apple, but you'll never get to the meat of it until you bite off a piece, chew and swallow it. Only afterwards you are able to talk about the taste of the apple as it is, whether you like it or prefer something different. The same with traveling. You learn the world with your own eyes, walking on your own feet through unfamiliar streets, alleys and lanes, making your personal conclusions. And the earlier one starts traveling, the better it is. We require a proper basement to build the house we like. Moreover, in the young age, people usually don't possess stratospheric requirements regarding their physical comfort as we tend to acquire through the years. When you are 20 or 20-something, you don't think too much about the accommodation, the quality and variety of food, drinks and entertainment program at your hotel. You merely are eager to experience as many events and emotions as possible, and the more adventurous they are, the more captivating it is. It is a natural process. In the young age, a person has to build up his moral and intellectual sinew to possess the better chances in life in future. You can reasonably pose me a question. And what about us, adults, middle-aged, already retired people? Don't we need to travel then? By all means, we do. If a person has external and internal resources available for a cuisine journey, a sightseeing tour, or a cruise to prowl the oceans, that's always great and welcome. The more we see in the world around us, the better we understand ourselves and the others as well. New places, new food, and new culture enrich you at any age. However, it happens very often that at the age of 30, or sometimes even earlier, many people settle down to married life, climb the ranks, and take the loan for an apartment, a house, or a car. They have other preferences and duties in their lives, and traveling is perceived more like a bonus, the top of the milk, that is for sure nice and pleasant, but not essential anymore. In addition, in the course of our maturity, we acquire and form our views, images, impressions, and judgments, which over the years are hardly possible to neglect. We already possess the foundation based on which we arrange our life, and traveling from then on has less influence on our senses and personal development, and is aimed more at refreshment and recreation from the daily routine, like a breath of fresh air that everybody requires from time to time. Thus, the focus of traveling purpose shifts from exploring the world and creating your invisible skeleton to enriching and building up your internal muscle mass. I always liked traveling and wanted to travel. As a child, I spent the largest part of my summer holidays in the countryside, walking with my friends, playing badminton or table tennis, gathering mushrooms and berries in the forest. I come from the tourist family, and though we didn't have an opportunity to go to the sea or abroad in the 90s, my parents always arranged our free time very inventively. I was not the fan of winter and cold, inevitably associated with this season, but in summers I fully enjoyed our short trips throughout the region. Either we boated up the Set River to the like-named lake, with our boat tilting on the high waves during storms, and with diving head downward and splash in the middle of the lake, or went camping for a couple of days, singing hiking songs, overnighting in tents, fishing and cooking food and drinks in the kettles on the open fire, or explored the neighborhood on our bikes, recklessly jumping over ditches, brooks, and tree branches. As a child, I had a lot of fun and savored every summer holiday, finding out something new and captivating each day. The appetite for life and adventure is in my bones, and after entering the university, I continued my traveling experience both with my friends and alone. For the first time, I went abroad alone at the age of 21 to Austria, Vienna. The choice was made in favor of that country, since just half a year before I had started to learn German, and by that time was dreaming to practice it. The occasion arose already on the second day of my stay in this charming city, when the guide of the Russian tourist group with which I went on the excursion that day had forgotten me somewhere in the city. I had neither a map with me nor an idea where I was. My German was not at its best yet, however I could do nothing but starting speaking the language. It was a great experience for me to stew in my juice and finally see the daylight. I was building up my internal skeleton of inventiveness and improvisation. And it's worth noting, my German took a quantum leap that day. I learned a lot of new people and discovered on my own the magnificent beauty of Vienna Schönbrunn Schloss and its adjacent territory that no guide would have ever been able to show you when you are within a touristic group. And even now, more than a decade later, Vienna remains one of my beloved cities. Moreover, from that episode on, to get fun and soar, I've been traveling only on my own, wherever I wanted, paving my unique individual routes. My first traveling experience alone has become a decent introduction lesson in life, followed by many other curious events and incidents. When I met Ivan, my future husband, and through concurrence of circumstances, my former spouse by now. I had a number of worries, whether he would share with me my strive for traveling and investigating the world around. However, my fears turned to be falsified, and Ivan was as zealous in traveling as me. The same as me, he was keen about Europe. What more, he gave me the wonderful opportunity to make a final choice with a destination to follow. Since I knew and constantly practiced English, German, and French, our places of stay were always directed toward the heart of Europe. Together we discovered Germany, Hungary, Austria, Czech Republic, Spain. However, our top pick unalterably remained France, in particular mine. Every person has his or her place of power, the place where you can easily recharge your batteries and feel ready again to act and create on a noble scale. And I have found out that France was and would stay such a reservoir of strength, lifeblood, and inspiration for me. I think it was my mother who had wished sincerely to visit Paris once and handed over her dream to me when I was a small little girl. Even in my school days I listened passionately to French songs, continually repeated the words from them, and our French school teachers named me a true French lady. Somehow my pronunciation was French from the very first lesson, and I grasped the language on a single flash. And thanks to Ivan, he didn't argue with me when after our marriage I suggested going to France for our next vacation, to its capital city, Paris, and small towns lying nearby. To be honest, I think France has become that eternal energy source for both of us, and owing to this country and active traveling to other European destinations, our marriage lasted for almost 6 years. Traveling was the most powerful thing, having united us for such a long period of time. Over and above, we spent good time together while exploring new towns, castles, towers, and visiting numerous museums and art galleries. It was an interesting time together, a necessary experience for him and for me. However, even the magic power of traveling has its limits and cannot unite two people with views and goals forever, having become entirely different in the course of years of their maturity and personal development. That happens. That's finally life. The only thing I'm sure, we have enriched the lives of each other by traveling together and sharing similar views on the way of traveling. Thus, on the agenda, Ivan and I had Paris, Rouen, Deauville, and swimming in the English Channel. As usual, I made all necessary preparations, booked flight and train tickets to nearby towns, found an affordable but nice hotel in Paris, and explored the best transport connections and interesting routes. France was enchanting. Of course, Paris was not as my mother had imagined it in her dreams, with women wearing elegant vintage dresses and hats a la Coco Chanel, or gentle aristocratic atmosphere in the early part of the 20th century, with coachmen, carriages, and horses on the street. It was 2010, the 21st century, the era of internet speed and comfort. The appearance of Paris is different now, and that's normal process. However, if you stop for a moment, breathe in deeply and close your eyes on the sand river bank overlooking the Eiffel Tower, you'd immediately catch up that distinctive spirit of the city, its timeless beauty, dignity, and charm. From then onward, you wouldn't pay any attention to multiple black people inhabiting the capital, to rush, noise, and heavy traffic on the roads, or to tasteless clothes that many young French ladies prefer at present, considering them more practical and comfortable for everyday life. All this poppycock would seem a mere dust on the wonderful mirror, remaining perfect and untouched. I know a lot of people blame Paris of having become very commercial and friendly and full of immigrants. But the only thing one needs is to look deeper to reveal that the captivating magic of Paris has never disappeared. We enjoyed every moment of our first stay in France, paying a tribute to the traditional cultural tourist program on the one hand, and discovering the unusual aspects of Paris and small towns around it on the other. For example, it was a unique experience to visit Louvre Museum at 10 o'clock in the evening when the rooms were almost empty and we could study all the facets of famous Gioconda as long as we desired. Even some staff didn't know they had open hours so late that Sunday. It was unforgettable to swim in the cold waters of the English Channel in stormy weather, where there were only you and an enormous amount of seagulls on the coast, and the difference in service and treatment of the French as a whole towards us was dramatic each time I talked to them in their native language instead of international English. In this way, many things got possible to us for free, like wine degustation at a number of wine cellars, some museums and galleries entrances, and it goes without saying that speed, politeness, friendliness, and quality of service in French cafes were positively astonishing. During our first visit to France, we touched the marvelous soul of this country that knew how to save a life and fragile moments of happiness. After Paris came Nice and Côte d'Azur. As a child, I watched a lot of documentaries about the famous people relaxing on its coast, the noble Russian writers and poets creating their best works in Nice, and the pure water clarity of the bottomless Mediterranean Sea. It was my sacred wish to walk once through numerous tiny streets of Nice and stroll along the sea coast, enjoying the illimitable space and breathtaking views. Traveling to Côte d'Azur, as you may reasonably notice, is associated with lots of money. In fact, it is so, but only if you arrange your trip by means of a travel agency, and when you make all steps on your own. It is at least twice as cheap and gives you much more freedom of choice, where to go in the first turn, how much time to spend in the place you visit, and what you can actually skip out of your program in favor of other things, finding a warmer response in your soul. This was exactly the way we had organized our journey. With my French knowledge, it was not a problem at all. On the contrary, it was always a pleasure for me, a sort of certain adventure or quest to find out the best offers regarding transport, accommodation, cultural and recreation activities. The old-fashioned Nice, with its slow pace of life and a special touch of contrasts between intelligence and simplicity, modesty and permissiveness, living in harmony together, reflected my personal essence at full breath. Nice nobody leaves unmoved. The only difference is that one pole of people dislikes it completely, the other, opposite to them, admires Nice sincerely and holds the memory about this enchanting city in their hearts for the rest of their life, everyone to his taste. As for me, I would easily imagine myself living in the suburb of Nice, in a small cottage with a nice garden facing the sea, composing stories, poems, and songs, and reflecting about the purpose of existence, the foolishness of my own questions, and soaking up each day, whether rainy or sunny, stormy or calm. In the course of our trip, Ivan and I explored the whole coast, thanks to the public buses costing less than €2 to any destination of the region, including Monaco. Every day was full of events, people, excitement, delight, and even disillusion about the red carpet in Cannes, since it had turned out to be very short, sound-faded, and usual. On the other hand, such towns as Mauritania's toy-like and idyllic grass, famous for its fragrance background, or picturesque, noisy, and exuberant Menton, lying almost on the border with Italy, filled me up with new energy and were changing my overall perception of the French and myself as well. My own horizons got broader. My last meeting with France happened in Alsace. Ivan and I decided to investigate the northern part of the country with our hub in Strasbourg. One can run on for hours, relishing the beauty of the wide open spaces, the magic of the picture book houses, mysterious castles, foggy mountains, and cheerful people inhabiting it. Every part in France is like a separate world, or better to say, universe, in which you'll always find something intimate and native precisely for you. In Alsace, there were not as many tourists as in other parts of France. We strongly felt the impact of Germany's spirit locating just around the corner with inescapable interpenetration of two cultures. Moreover, the locals in Alsace stood in stark difference to those in other touristic areas of France or Europe in principle. They possessed some authentic, solid aura, and at the same time they were highly joyful and friendly towards every stranger and living creature. As a whole, I found that France is that ever-living source of power, enthusiasm, and inspiration for me. At present, I don't have the chance to travel to France as often as I'd like to. However, my recollections, pleasant, healing, vivifying and uplifting, are immediately at hand. Anytime I simply listen to a French melody and a French cafe melange located in the center of Yekaterinburg for 1 or 2 hours, watch a 2-minute abstract from a documentary about France, or a French movie with its peculiar sense of humor and philosophy of life, read a French book in original, or look at the picture of the Eiffel Tower or Sacre-Cœur Basilica. I can easily animate every day from my past journeys, because once you've seen something with your own eyes, no force would be able to take your memories, emotions and images away. That's the magnificent power of traveling, and in the youth we need traveling stronger than ever, since it is at this tender age when we form our own vision, define what is beneficial for us, set up our values and priorities for many years ahead. In short, we build up our internal skeleton, and traveling is one of the best supporters and mentors in respect of finding your unique life path, unlocking your talents and traits and features which might have been sleeping earlier, and finally understanding and accepting yourself and the enormous world around you. And now my poem. Who are you? Ask me the people over time. I ponder for a while and answer with a gentle smile. I am a stranger, day and night, a stream of light that wanders through its life. I like the freedom of my life, the sun, the moon, the warm July. I cannot help but moving forth towards the mysteries of universe. I like to travel in my dreams, create worlds I've never seen. I love adventures of all kinds. Without them, there would be no life. I answer you. We all are strangers, eternal pilgrims in the search of truth. We strive for harmony. We look for happiness. And urge to travel is in the genes of me and you. Dear friends, thank you very much for your listening. I wish you have this magic power, this power of traveling, this drive for traveling, and try not to travel only abroad or somewhere far away, but just look around yourself and see how wonderful and enormous is the world around us. Just travel every day, be a stranger every minute, every hour, and every day, week and month. You're Olga Pazdnikova. Have a nice day and see you soon. Bye bye.